Hi, my name's James here at the Dartford Training Centre, and today we're going to talk about Megaflo. Today we'll be looking at changing the elements on a Megaflo cylinder. Once the power's off, we need to prove the power's off. Safe isolation is very important. Remove the cover to expose the electrics. We need for this a proving unit and a voltage indicator. The power's off, but is it off? So first thing we need to do is get our power indicator and prove that it works on our proving unit. So if we push it into our proving unit, we have all the lights on, our voltage indicator is working, it's indicating voltage. We then test on our block, live and neutral, no lights, live and earth, no lights, neutral and earth, no lights, and if we test across the others, this is coming from the heating system, we have absolutely no power going to our cylinder. Once we've proved the cylinder, we need to prove our voltage indicating device, check it's still working. It is, everything's good. We are safely isolated. Once it's isolated, we can test the element. So let's test this element, see if it's okay. For this, we'd need an insulation tester, a multimeter, clamp meter. For using our insulation tester, we would need to disconnect the element. So taking off the connections on the spades and disconnecting the earth as well. We then get an insulation tester which has crocodile clip type clamps on the end. We can put one onto the element and the other one onto the earth point, which is the tab next to the element there. We turn our mega tester on to 500 volts and press and hold for 3 seconds. Release. We have a reading of OL, open line, which is perfect. We need more than 500,000 ohms, half a mega ohm, and that is way more than that. Anything lower will probably be a break in your element. Now we've done our insulation test, we still need to check the resistance on the element to make sure that it's right and we're not going to blow a fuse or have any issues when we turn our power back on. So first thing we need to do is turn our multimeter onto resistance and put our leads together, checking the resistance that's on our multimeter. This one's reading 1.6. Because I have fuses in my leads, I have a starting resistance of 1.6. Okay, now I can look at the resistance of my element. I need to be looking around about 8.5 plus or minus 10%. I have a resistance of 20 ohms. Remember, my starting was 1.6, so I've actually got about 18.4 ohms as a resistance on my element. We can now turn the power back on. First, we need to replace the spade connections on the element, including, very importantly, the earth. It is, after all, our safety. The power's turned back on. We need to look at our polarity and check the voltage is right. So multimeter onto volts AC, and we will go live neutral. We have 246, live earth, we have 247, neutral earth we have 1.5. We can test on the element And if we test on the element, we have 244 volts going to our element. We have the right polarity and the right voltage. Once we ascertain we've got the right voltage and right polarity, we can now look at the ampage to make sure the element is drawing the right amount of power. If we turn it on, we can then clamp it over the live cable and check how much power it's drawing. This is drawing 12.5 amps. That's absolutely spot on where we want it. Make sure you only go over the live cable. If you go over the live and neutral, you'll have 0. If it fails any of these tests, we might need to change its element, which we'll look at now. For this, we need to drain down the cylinder. With a Megaflo cylinder, we have a 3/4 drain off here, has a cap and a spout. We screw the spout on. And nip it up. Hose pipe on. And now we can drain our cylinder. Now we've drained the cylinder, we can take the element out with a tool that is supplied in the box with the cylinder and a screwdriver for a lever. So first we need to disconnect the spade connections on the element. Now, if we use our phone, we can take a picture of the connections inside. Now we need to take out the high limit stat, which is up here, sits in a pocket on the element, and the thermostat, which sits in the other pocket. Taking care to know which way round they came and in what order they came out. Remove the white plastic cover on the elements, and now we put our tool in, and using a screwdriver we can now spin the nut out. With the help of a screwdriver we can get the element out. We need to replace the element. Okay. Taking care to make sure the two pockets are up and down, north and south. To keep them in place, we can once again use our long screwdriver to hold that as we screw the nut on. We replace the nut, making sure the rubber washer is in place. Screwing that in. To help us to keep this north and south, we can use a long screwdriver to hold it as we do it up. Once we've replaced the plastic cover, we can then put our stats back into the pockets, remembering in which order they came out. Taking care not to break the capillary tubes. Be nice and gentle. There we go. Now we can replace our spade connections on to the element. So that's the element tested and changed in this cylinder. Always remember, practice safe isolation. Okay, thank you.